Hello, welcome. We are TNT, the Great British Wrestling Podcast for Great British Wrestling, as featured on bodyslam.net and the Jonas Podcasting Network. I'm, of course, the Great British Attacker, Mr. Andrew Moore, Andy to most, joined as always by the amazing, the punk rock, the Mohawk is back, Big Daddy Dan, Mr. Daniel Allen, just Dan for short. How we doing, Dan?
We are very well. It was a very, very long weekend. I put some miles on the car and I got to see some really good wrestling.
Yeah, Big Daddy Dan had a big weekend of wrestling.
Yeah. Started off in Birmingham for FFW on Friday night.
That's
Moved
full
over
force
to
wrestling.
moved over to Welling Garden City for UBW on Saturday night.
That's ultimate British wrestling.
And then went to United in Oxford on Sunday.
That's just United Wrestling. I'm sure you had lots of fun, and we will, of course, be talking about it. We've got some top stories. We've got the next 2 weeks lot of action. We'll be talking about, of course, Big Daddy Dan will be talking about his big weekend of wrestling. And if we've got time, maybe we'll see. We might fit that James Ellis versus Mark Andrews match in somewhere. It just depends on how time flows. Because we know your time is precious out there. You don't have 2.5 hours to listen to us. We wish you did, but we understand. So let's just get cracking on with some news coming out of, it is that time of year. Is Wrestlemania season is upon us. It is coming soon, and the UK stars are heading over to the US. They are US bound. To be on some independent shows across the board. We've had 2 announcements so far. One huge announcement involving man like Darius, as he'll be part of the GCW collective show, the 40 Culture show, the all POC show for that huge weekend that GCW do, the GCW Collective.
That is on the 30th of March. And Darius will be joining the likes of Leah Rush, Trisha Dora, Myron Reed, Kevin Knight, and many, many more.
Yeah, and he's not the only guy to be announced for a US show during that weekend. We've got Michael Oku, the OJMO, the master of the half crab. He'll be making his Prestige Wrestling debut in Los Angeles on the 31st of March. The show is Nervous Breakdown. He'll be appearing alongside the likes of Aja Kong, Alex Shelley, Taya Valkyrie, Miyu Yamashita, Timothy Thatcher, Davey Richards, and more. He's there for an entire week because he'll be making his West Coast Pro debut as well. The Home of the Killers show, which is on the 7th of April. Of course, Oku's just been back from America not too long ago, competing for PWG and I think another promotion while he was out there.
Now, Michael Oku was the guest on Talk is Jericho this week, and it's well worth a listen. It's not a particularly long episode, it's only about 40 minutes, but Michael Oku comes across brilliantly, and he gives you the story of where the OJMO comes from. And it's not what you think. It's really, really worth a listen.
It's Orange Juice Michael Oku.
Nope.
Yes, it is. Don't. But of course, he did face Chris Jericho while he was out there. So the master of the half crab took on the master of the full crab, I guess.
And he's been guaranteed a place, a part of AEW's London show when it happens.
Yeah, so big news for Michael Oku. He was part of the PWG tournament as well, Battle of Los Angeles or something.
Yeah,
I know he took on Takeshita in the first round, losing. But
match of the night, according to most people.
Many people indeed. Now, of course, these are just the first 2, and of course, this has led to Man Like Darius being announced as the first person for Progress for the US show that they will be having during that weekend. So no doubt we're likely to see more guys pop up during the period. In fact, when was Lando and Black due out there? Is it
I
maybe a
believe
week
they're
ago?
over there that period of time.
Yeah, so no doubt they'll be part of those shows over there. Of course,
And they are, of course, based in LA for that time as well.
yeah, well, of course, because Progress are getting in on the action. They are running a show out in LA alongside all of the Wrestlemainia stuff. So, as I say, there's going to be a lot of British stars out there this year. So, no doubt we'll see lots more announcements to come. Because, you know, the likes of Leon Slater's bound to be going, and I'm sure he'll be getting a booking somewhere. Who else do you think will be out there? Big Damo?
Damo would make sense for him to be out there. I think, to be honest, Ridgway could possibly end up out there as well. With all the work he's doing with Noah, he is a big enough international name.
Be an interesting one. Wouldn't mind seeing that.
I'm going to suggest skipping the next story and going on to the Americans coming here instead, and then moving back onto that one.
Yeah, okay, so the Americans are on their way to the UK just after WrestleMania season. Actually, one of them was just before WrestleMania season. Missed that one. But 1PW have announced a load more big names for their show. Not this weekend, but the following. Let me just bring it up. Would you like to tell me who is coming while I do that?
Bobby Fish is going to
Crazy.
be coming on the 22nd of April. Former Undisputed Superstar will be at the Doncaster Dome for All or Nothing. Also set to appear is former AEW star Frankie Kazarian. So you got two pretty damn big names there. However, the one that I'm most excited for, because I do absolutely love him, Everybody Dies. Lance Archer is coming to 1PW, but not just 1PW.
No. He will also be appearing for Rev Pro UK, but sticking with 1PW just briefly, it is the Saturday, the 22nd of April show at the Doncaster Dome. Might maybe see if I can pop along to that one. We'll see. And they've literally just announced that Will Ospreay will once again be appearing for 1PW. And this is obviously their April 22nd show. All or Nothing at the Doncaster Dome. Some big names.
There are.
I like Frankie Kazarian. I've always been a big fan of Frankie Kazarian. I always felt AEW dropped the ball by splitting Kazarian and Scorpio up. I think they should have remained as a tag team.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, not going to disagree with that.
It seems they got something with Impact.
Well, Kazarian's left AEW and is signed to Impact now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It seems like 1PW may have an Impact connection if you look at a lot of the stars that are coming in. Bobby Fish is also an Impact at the moment.
He is, yep.
And some of the names that were announced previously, like Taya Valkyrie, is definitely going to be part of the show.
Rhino.
D'Lo Brown's going to be there again.
But I'm a bit gutted because Lance Archer is also coming to Rev Pro.
He
on
is.
March the 11th, which is my wedding anniversary. And I do have plans with my wife that do not extend to watching big sweaty men knocking seven shades out of each other.
No, they don't. So, yeah. Lance Archer will be making his appearance in Rev Pro UK March 11th and 12th. And as you say, it's also in Stevenage. So, yeah, I don't think you're going to be able to. You could go see him in Sheffield. Or, as you mentioned just before, you can wait to do the Doncaster Dome show, which I was just looking. They've also got the Rascals and the Rush. So, looks like another big con coming for 1PW.
It's good to see these big cards coming back for 2023. Progress have got a big card as well, haven't they?
I was just going to mention the fact that it's good to see young top independent stars coming over.
Yes, because Bobby Fish, Frankie Kazarian, and Lance Archer are all under.
Oh, yes. Well, but they can probably still go.
Oh yeah, the
In fact,
voice
we
has
know
got
anything.
7 shades, but yes.
Yes. Yeah, well, Progress have got the Japanese stars coming in for their what's the show called?
Gene Money's Dark Lad Emporium.
Yes, on the 7th of March. And they have recently announced that Fuminori Abe will be part of the show. He previously announced with Shigehiro Irie, and the two will now be competing against each other. I remember they teamed together at WXW, the World Tag Team Festival that I went to when in Germany, and they formed a really good team. So it's a shame we can't see them come in as a team. Abe, a lot of people probably have no idea much about Fuminori Abe. He's a BJW competitor as well as 0-1 champion. I can tell you, he likes to hit you with his knuckles on the top of your head. Is one of his favorite moves, as well as using his headbutt. In fact, I remember a particularly vicious headbutt against one Kevin Q of the what's that tag team called? Violence is Forever. Kevin Q from Violence is Forever. He gave him a nasty headbutt that split his head wide open.
Ew.
It was vicious. He bled everywhere. That match was excellent. Not just because he bled, it just was a really, really hard hitting match. These guys literally, it was a fun match to watch live, definitely. Abe versus Irie. So we're not going to get that Abe and Irie chant that we got while we were over in WXW. I'd say these are big Japanese names. Shigehiro Irie had a long history with Progress, to be honest. He's made many appearances for Progress Wrestling. I think his first appearance was challenging Walter, and it was Walter that kind of brought Irie into the Progress fold. And expect this to be a hard-hitting, brutal match, and I'm sure everybody will enjoy. But there's also going to be Kid Lycos 2 versus a legendary international luchador in a Luchas it's a mask thief versus mask match. I'm not going to butcher it. I'm just not going to do it. It's just a mask versus mask match. Who is the mystery legendary luchador?
I think it's going to be El Hijo del Money.
El Helio del Money. Could be Eddie Mysterio.
Ray Cedar.
Santos Jr. could make an appearance, and it could be him. I remember when they first announced that legendary luchador would be coming. I put forward the idea that Commander is actually in Europe at the time. In fact, he's in Germany on the Friday, Saturday, and up to the Monday, and he would be available for Tuesday. But as brilliant as Commander is, and he's excellent, he's just amazing. What you see of him for GCW and so forth, he doesn't quite qualify for legendary yet, though, does he?
No,
so
that's why I think
probably rule it out.
That's why I think it is going to be El Hijo del Money.
I like it. We'll see. Going back to the other way, we have some British stars invading Italy with Northwest Strong invading SAJ Wrestling, which happens to be my favorite name promotion, Squash A Jobber Wrestling. Northwest Strong members 2-Bit and Keenan alongside Luke Jacobs will be heading to SAJ on the 4th of March, and they are invading SAJ to get revenge for Chris Ridgway, who was out there the last time SAJ had a show. I can't remember when that was, but yeah, it's how is it that the first promotion to do a Northwest Invasion angle is from Europe?
Tell me about it.
I fantasy booked this back in 4 podcast episodes ago, so why did nobody listen to me? But yeah, it's great to see guys like Two-Bit and Keenan getting some international experience. As SAJ Wrestling, they've had some big names go over to them and perform. I recently just saw that it's Two-Bit and Keenan will be facing the team of Triple B, which is Nico Iravade, and give me 1 second because I don't know the other one. But they've had the likes of Yota Tsuji over there. Michael Oko, I believe, has been there.
Triple B, that's the big Burberry belt, isn't it?
The big Burberry belt?
Yes, that's MJF's big Burberry belt.
No, I can't remember. It's again, it's Italian, so it is Nico Inverardi, sorry, and Mirko Mori. As I say, they have had some big names go over to this promotion already, and good to see guys like Two-Bit and Keenan gaining a bit of international experience, because they're young, very talented. I've always been a big fan of Two-Bit and Keenan.
Yeah, you have. You've always been very vocal about it, which is good. Right. Shall we head back to the UK?
Back to the UK. Okay, go for it. I'm going to let you go. Take the next one.
Let's go to Welsh Wales. Attack Pro Wrestling made their surprise return at the No Mercy show on the 21st of January. Attack will be officially returning on the 1st and 2nd of April at the Prism in Cardiff, which will feature a tournament to crown a new Attack Pro champion. 2 matches that have been announced so far are Nico Angelo versus Jay Joshua and Wild Boar versus Flash Morgan Webster. Both matches will take place on night 1 and also set to feature Danny Luna versus Emerson Jane. Strong first set of matches announced.
Yeah, Danny Luna versus Emerson Jane is a match I really, really like to see. Danny Luna has been excellent since coming back from NXT UK. She's really benefited from that time that she had in NXT UK, and I think she's gonna have a great year. And her versus Emerson Jane, who again, somebody I've been very vocal about as one of the best wrestlers in Europe right now, technically gifted, and she can just do it all, and I'm a big fan of her. So her versus Luna is going to be an extremely strong match. Looking at the 2, I guess, semi-final matches, we'll see how many people are actually part of the tournament. But Nico Angelo and Jay Joshua and Wild Boar and Flash Morgan Webster. So we've got like the new Wales in one match, and you've got sort of like the older Welsh in I don't want to say older because Jesus, Flash Morgan Webster hasn't even hit 30 yet, has he? I don't think.
I mean,
Wild Boar maybe a bit more.
Boar and Webster have got such experience together that they should be putting on fantastic matches.
Yeah, great to see Attack Pro Wrestling back. Of course, Pete Dunne put the promotion on hold during the lockdown. Obviously, he moved to Florida. He couldn't really provide any time towards it. And Chris Brooks was, of course, in Japan. But Mark Andrews and Eddie Dennis came together, and they've obviously discussed it, and they've relaunched Attack Pro Wrestling, and great to see them back. And they've got more exciting news with regards to an up-and-coming promotion that, again, we've been quite vocal about, Riot Cabaret Wrestling.
Yeah, so they're going to be running a joint show on the 30th of June with Friends Stand United, which is a great name. Ringside seats have already sold out. VIP Royal boxes are sold out. Stage seating is almost sold out. So if you want to get a ticket, go and book now.
Yeah, that's pretty much the only advice we have to you. If you want to see this Attack Pro Riot Cabaret show, certainly get over there. They've been building a nice little roster. Many of the guys from Attack Pro, of course, been in and competing for them already. You've got some of the big names from Progress Wrestling as well. So very interesting.
I've got some breaking news.
Ooh, breaking news.
Breaking news. I've just booked our next interview.
Ooh.
While we're talking, I've just booked an interview for us to interview a fantastic British wrestler next week.
Ooh.
I bloody hope you're available.
I'll make myself available.
Right, anyway, back to amazing wrestling in London with Pro Wrestling Eve.
Yeah, Pro Wrestling Eve will be celebrating the International Women's Day, which is, of course, on the Wednesday, 8th of March, with their usual show at this time of year, Women Behaving Badly. Pro Wrestling Eve champion Miyu Yamashita will be back, and she will be defending her championship against the one and only Scouse violent, just the Scouse of Lizzie Evo, and that's going to be a hell of a match. You know, Miyu Yamashita is a phenomenal striker, but is she going to be able to deal with the pressure that Lizzie Evo puts on her opponents?
I don't know, but I think it's quite possible.
I think whoever attends that show is going to have a fantastic time at that show. I think that match alone kind of sells the show. But you also have the Queens of Kampai versus Royal Aces, so more stars coming in from Japan. Nina Samuels against US indie star Becca, or B3C. It is Becca. She's a pop star. She's a wrestler. She had one match over here last year, actually, and unfortunately got injured and had to cancel her tour that she had planned. But she will be part of this Pro Wrestling Eve show, which will also feature Miyuki Takase, Millie McKenzie, and Riho have all been announced so far for that. So that's Women Behaving Badly, and that's on the 8th of March. I can't really tell you much about the Queens of Kampai and Miyu Takase. I couldn't even find much on them, but I'm sure Pro Wrestling Eve always bring the best talents over from Japan. So get yourselves over to that show. Support women's wrestling.
Yeah, definitely. Next one is my company of the year last year. My favourites. It's TNT Extreme. First round matches for DOA on the 4th of March have been announced, and they are going to be violent. Big Effin' Joe versus Tomby in a 4 Corners of Pain match. Cole Radrick versus B.A. Rose in Barbed Wire Madness. The Lost Boy Aspen versus Michael Caden in a home run derby. Session Moth versus Ali Catch. I'm sure that's just going to be a cuddly, lovely match. MVK.
You really enjoyed their match last time.
I did. It's going to be wonderful.
Do we know the stipulation for that one? You carry on. I'm going to find the stipulation for that one. Oh, it's a mystery boxes match.
Corner match.
So, a mystery boxes. I have no idea. Hopefully, there is not a knife in the mystery box. That's all I have to say.
MVK
Belgavius
versus Tom Thirlwell versus JJ Webb. Clint Margera versus Alton Thorne. That's going to be a great match. Prior to this is the family-friendly TNT Ignition show, Sky's the Limit, which has got some even better matches lined up, in my opinion, because I am particularly two of them. They include Ali Catch versus Harley Hudson, Sam Gradwell versus Joey Hayes, Dylan Roberts versus Tate Mayfairs, and two that I'm very excited for, RPD versus Chase Alexander for the big gold belt, and the Greedy Souls versus Lycos Jim. And we would like to have a quick recommendation to you, because the night before, our friends over at the United Wrestling Podcast are doing a special show, aren't they?
It is, but it's not the United Wrestling Podcast. It's the Untitled Wrestling Podcast.
It is. I'm sorry, I've got United on the brain. I'm going to just reverse that. Andy will completely edit it out, so I'll look cool. Yeah, remember, put the nice cool filter on me as well. Untitled Wrestling Podcast. God, they're going to abuse me. As they speak to Ali Catch live at Coyote Ugly Bar in Liverpool. Tickets are very cheap for you to go up close and personal with Ali Catch and our friends over at Untitled to have a good chat and find out all about American hardcore wrestling. And I'm sure there'll be some great news coming ahead of Effie's Big Gay Brunch.
Yes. If they offer, I'm sending you. As much as I love that TNT Ignition card, and I can maybe do one deathmatch a show, there's no way I could do. How many death matches will there be in the end? Like 8?
Unfortunately, local elections are coming up, and I have the launch day for my new candidate in the Grange in Letchworth, and I've got to take him around and introduce him to people and make people realise that he is a very cool person. You should definitely vote for him and definitely not vote Conservative.
Indeed. But TNT Extreme, as I say, the Ignition show, Ali Catch, Harley Hudson, Sam Gradwell, Joey Hayes, Tate Mayfair, Dylan Roberts. Greedy Souls versus Lycos Jim. Both of these for me right now are the best versions of the Greedy Souls and Lycos Jim. I think both of them right now are having the best matches of their careers. They are smashing it each and every time. And I can only imagine that the match they're going to have will be absolutely freaking amazing.
Just while we're talking about smashing, and we're talking about this, a few shout-outs. First shout-outs to Shreddy. Shreddy, obviously a major part of TNT. He has absolutely bollocksed his shoulder, like completely separated the bone. We're looking at 7-month recovery time. Get well soon, Shreddy. We love you to bits. We think you're awesome. And yeah, get well soon.
Rest up, heal up, bigger, badder.
Definitely.
You know the deal.
Also, a shout out to Chuck Mambo, who got his face caved in. Did you see the state of his eye?
I did not. Well, missed this one.
At Progress, he got hit square in the face, and I believe it's a fractured orbital socket. I hope it's not. But yeah, he ended up. They had to stop the match. It was quite major hit to the face.
Well, I don't remember if you remember me mentioning on the WXW show very recently. Of course, Robert Dreisker suffered pretty much the exact same injury, orbital socket completely smashed in, and so forth. So, rest up. Did they make the Smoking Aces the champs?
I'm 100% sure is the honest answer. Because I was mainly focusing on Chuck's eye when I saw the news story.
Very much rest up, Chuck. I completely missed this, and we'll keep an eye on when Progress do come to the show. I would just point out that for me, I think you have to have the title change.
Yeah.
or have TK go to match solo and win. But rest up, Chuck Mambo. As I say, again, Sunshine Machine. I have been at their peak recently. They have been dominating in Progress. Great matches after great matches. I'm sure their match against the Smoking Aces was a fantastic match up into the unfortunate injury, as you just mentioned. So, Chuck, yeah, rest up. Hopefully, you'll be back for WrestleMania. No, you won't be. These type of orbital fractures can be out for quite some time.
In by Charlie Sterling. Yeah. Nasty. Let's talk about Friends.
Well, actually, let's stick with the tournaments because, as we just mentioned, TNT Extreme, the DOA tournament, Dead or Alive, Deathmatch tournament. Well, North Wrestling NCL over in Newcastle, they're going to have the NCL Cup on the 8th of April. 8 competitors, one night. There is a 10-minute time limit. If the time limit is reached, there are no more rope breaks once that time limit has passed. There will be absolutely no interferences, and count out at 5. So best to keep the action in the ring. You know I always love a tournament. What do you think of this tournament, the NCL Cup?
I think it's a great idea. It's going to be nice and fast-paced. I think it's got real potential, and I think it's using the rules to the advantage of the show, which there's no point wrestling if you don't have rules, as you regularly say.
Indeed. I do like this whole 10-minute time limit. Once that time limit passes, it doesn't finish the match. There's just no more rope breaks after that. So kind of really trying to force the finish at that point. So yeah, I like that unique rule to the tournament as well. I also like the count out at 5 because it means the action will typically be confined to the ring where it should be.
Yeah.
So interesting one. It's a Saturday. I hate shows that run on a Saturday. I like shows run on a Sunday. The way where I live, I literally have to get a hotel, so it's just so much easier to have Sunday nights. Well, not easier, cheaper, and I'm cheap. But I might have to look into that because I do love a tournament. Speaking of tournaments, our friends over at Wrestle Carnival just announced another single night tournament, so which will take place at their October 29th show. And there will be 8 competitors. All of the matches will be cage matches, and the tournament is simply known as Survival of the Fittest, and it will be at the Portland Centre in Nottingham. What do you make of this tournament?
I love steel cage matches. I have never attended a show with a steel cage match, so might have to change that. I think it's a good idea. And also, I think that venue will work well, having been there before, to have steel cage matches in.
Yeah. He's got himself a cage. I don't think I've ever seen a cage match live either. No, I don't really don't. So yeah, that might be very, very interesting. Of course, always love what Wrestle Carnival doing. Gary's got a great mind for wrestling, and I'm sure this tournament will be good. I look forward to it. I hope
that Tommy Kyle is fixed up and ready for it.
Oh, that would be nice if he would be. It certainly would. October 29th. You got something to aim for there, Tommy Kyle. You can do it. You're the absolute maverick. They've also announced the Carnival of Champions 2 will actually debut on the Premier streaming network. I called it the Premier Sporting Network last time, so it's the premier streaming network, and it's due to premiere on the 23rd of February for the Carnival of Champions 2 show. It is already available on their Patreon service for those who want to see it early.
Who's
Go
doing the
check that
commentary
out.
on it?
It is RC Chaos and Sunny G,
Cool.
who are very good. Yeah, they've been a good commentary team since joining Wrestle Carnival. They've done the last few shows, and very, very good team. I think they also possibly do a couple of the Midland shows as well, like the BCCWs.
So what other shows have Wrestle
BCCW.
Carnival got coming up, Andy?
As I say, that Carnival, so Carnival Champions will be available to us soon. They have announced their second year anniversary will be at the HMV Empire on the 30th of July and will feature the championship match between men like Doris and CJ Rollins. Emerson Jane will once again face Chris Ridgway for the Pure Championship. So Chris Ridgway versus Emerson Jane 2. I remember Stephen Sound, the Tribal Chief of the Big Fat Geeks, our good friend out there in the atmosphere. You can't see him. He is to John Cena. He got to see the first match live, and he's never really been the biggest Chris Ridgway fan, but the match between Emerson Jane and Chris Ridgway, he said was his favorite match of the night, as well as his son's favorite match of the night. And so yeah, it was a great match. So number 2 is going to be even better. You've also got Lizzie Evo versus Alex Windsor for the number 1 contendership. Of course, Alex Windsor was never pinned or submitted for the title. So she wants to get that
now is
belt
also
back.
a good time to advertise Lizzie Evo's entrance.
I was going to do that after thing because I just remembered we will announce the fact that their show is available, but we'll do that one just after we've done this. Yeah, what do you think of those matchups so far?
I think they look a little bit tasty, particularly Lizzie Evo versus Alex Windsor.
Yeah, very looking forward to that match. 3 excellent matches already announced for the 2nd anniversary of Wrestle Carnival. They do still have the Clash of the Carnival show, which is first. That is on the 30th of April and features 8 great matches from Boisterous Behavior versus Subculture, Big Guns Joe versus CJ Rollin, Charles Crowley versus Spike Trevay, Riley Nova versus Lance Rivera, which is a match I'm very excited to. Very top young talents between Lance Rivera and Riley Nova. Harley Hudson and Ivy, which is a match you said you wanted, possibly on a bigger stage. Somewhat should be a fantastic match. Brady Phillips versus Liam Slater. If you want a wrestling match, that's your match. And then you got Reese and Rogan versus Act 2. So a solid card there for their show on the 30th of April at the Portland Centre in Nottingham. Lots of announcements, of course, they're coming from Wrestle Carnival. As you just mentioned, Soft Pro. We're going to talk about because their show is now available via Vimeo for £5. Well, from £5 because you can rent it for £5. You get it for like 9 months, or you can buy the whole show on video on demand, which I'm assuming is a little bit more. I'd like that price point.
I agree 100%. I've got some Wrestle Carnival breaking news.
Wrestle Carnival breaking news. We'll get back to Soft Pro in just 1 second.
The Wrestle Carnival Championship is going to be defended in Ireland. Doris is going to be defending on the 7th of April at RCW's event. That's Just What Jesus Said, Sir. And he is going to be going against Martin Steers and CBL. So there you go.
Very nice. That's awesome.
Breaking news. Very exciting.
What's RCW? What's the? Do you know the acronym?
For RCW,
Yes. Reckless or relentless?
no,
Nope.
it's an 18+ show though at the Kino in Cork City.
There you go. There we go. Making the championship. Well, yeah, actually, with this defense, it'll actually officially be a world championship. With the belt, this will be the second time the belt will be defended outside of the UK. The first was Charles Crowley versus Big Guns Joe over in WXW Germany. So the world, it will now be the Carnival World Championship, not just the Carnival Championship. Breaking news. There we go. Yeah, back to Soft Pro. Their show is available for £5. We were just talking about what a great starting price point, because most of the time we don't need to pay $9.99 to have the video forever. I think the renting option is a great way to do it. It's an excellent show. Go check out our last show. I reviewed it on the last show because, of course, I was there live. Of course, I didn't tell you about the amazing Lizzie Evo entrance, because you need to just see it to believe it. But they have obviously posted a clip available on Twitter, so I'm not really spoiling it anymore. She was the first person to enter on the night as well, so it was the first matchup and she was the first entrant. And basically they have the walk-on music, you know, of course, Liverpool, Manchester football, so that round up the crowd a little bit, but then a nice little PowerPoint presentation of, you know, F Manchester. Oh, well, now we're not monetized. Fuck Manchester. Ferguson was overrated. The Oasis are just shit Beatles. Paul Scholes, he was shit. Sergio Aguero, he was shit. Steven Gerrard was better. And many, many more things to just really, really wind up the Manchester native crowd, which is absolutely fantastic. Yeah, they rained down with boos, but you will hear there's a few cheers every now and then from a few different people who, you know, happen to agree with what they say about Manchester. And you know what, I think it was brilliant. It was hilarious. She brings out a Manchester United football shirt and wipes her ass with it. It's and yeah, absolutely crowd turned on her the moment. It was brilliant. I loved it. Really, really, yeah.
I think it's genius.
It's massively good. And as I say, there are for me 3 really top draw matches in four top draw matches in Endokara versus Leon Slater, which is just excellent. Kez Evans versus Josh Alexander, which is brilliant. You had Simon Miller versus Joseph Connor, which was phenomenal, and Brady Phillips and Sam Gradwell, which was also just beautiful. Really recommend all 4 of those matches. And a lot of people really high on the end of Carl, and they'll say, "Oh, it was the best match of the night." I honestly can't pick between really these matches on the night because each were very different from the other. I mean, Connor's Phillips match, the Connors and Simon Miller and the Brady Phillips versus Sam Gradwell, quite similar in the fact they were just very physical, hard-hitting battles. So for Gradwell and Brady went around the ringside, and for Simon Miller and Joseph Connors going all across the bloody into the crowd. I thought I was safe on the back row. No, I wasn't. And really, all 4 of them just like very different matches in retrospect. And I just loved all of them. I know a lot of people go on about the Leon Slater and the Endokara match because it was so fast paced. It was high flying. You know, it hits all the boxes for what people tend to really like and get excited about. But in my opinion, the matches between Kes Evans and Josh Alexander and the Simon Millers versus Joseph Connors, yes, slowed the pace down a little bit in their matches, but for me, they're just different styles and equally as good. So that's all I've got to say on Soft Pro and my trip, little recap. You had a big weekend of wrestling.
Oh my God, yes. It was amazing.
Tell me about
I
it.
learned a very important lesson. If you're going to help put a ring up, make sure the show is not in an upstairs venue with a big corner on the stairs.
That's why they roped you in, you know.
No, they wrote me in because unfortunately their regular announcer wasn't available. And because I did announcing for PEW, on their show was the lovely Joey Scott, and he recommended me to Full Force Wrestling, who asked if I was available, and I was. So I went up to Birmingham for a brilliant, brilliant show. Full Force Wrestling is a family-friendly show. They had approximately 150 in attendance, possibly a few more, and they are regular fans. They've got a great setup, and I was so excited because as my music hit to come out and get the crowd ready, I stepped through the black curtain and I had sparklers going off. I had as close to pyro as you get in British wrestling. It was amazing. So we started off with Sebastian Knight versus Harry Singh, because this show, clever show, they hadn't announced a lot of the wrestlers in advance. So it was a surprise match with mysteries all the way through. So Sebastian Knight versus Harry Singh was the first match. Then we had a tag team title defense by the Mad Hatters against the SCC. We then had the ongoing main storyline for Full Force Wrestling, which is Jason Joshua, Big Daddy Unicorn, versus Joey Scott. And at the last show, Joey Scott's mother got attacked during the show. And in this show, the surprise was they announced that it was going to be a mixed tag match. And Jason Joshua brought out his tag team partner, Nadia Sapphire, who is a very cool wrestler. And Joey Scott's tag team partner was announced as his mum. So his untrained mother was his tag partner for the match, and she did fantastically well. And then, unfortunately, she elbowed Joey while she was in the corner, didn't know who it was. So she got up and checked on him and made sure he was all right, and then kicked him square in the bollocks and put him down. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens next with Mama Scott. In the second half, we have Bootsy taking on Luke Basham. First time seeing Luke Basham live, first time seeing Bootsy live. Luke Basham, really, really good. Bootsy, great young talent. Look forward to seeing more. Eva then came on and took on Dominita, who is a major heel at Full Force Wrestling and a very well-known one. And then we had Martin Kirby been announced to take on a mystery opponent, and this was going to be for the British Championship. And I was really excited about this because the mystery opponent was Warhorse. Yeah, he's here to rule ass. And then I surprised them both when I announced that there would be a third competitor, which neither of them were aware of, and it was Jason Jacobs. Now, I don't know if you've seen Jason Jacobs much. He's also been advertised as the son of Giant Haystacks. He is a very big boy. He is approximately 6'2" and approximately 5 foot wide. He is a big boy, and he can move. He's a good wrestler. He can move, and he was fast. and he got the pin and the win over Martin Kirby and Warhorse. So yeah, brilliant show. Highly recommend Full Force Wrestling. Really good night. So that was my Friday night. I drove back from Birmingham. I got in at approximately 2 o'clock in the morning. And then I had intended to just have a quiet Saturday. But my daughter has been nagging me to go along to her first wrestling show. She's 9. So I took her along to UBW's Well in Warfare. And we had a great matches. Tony Sin there, who we've previously discussed.
You timed out for about 20 seconds there. So you want to go again?
UBW.
Yes.
My daughter had been nagging me to go along to you. My daughter had been nagging me to go along, so we went to Well in Warfare. We saw some great matches. Tony Sin was in action. Now, Tony Sin and I have had a little bit of a...
You upset Tony Sin. Terrible person you are. You're always antagonizing these wrestlers, and you need to stop putting your foot in your mouth.
Yeah, we'll discuss that later because you've upset somebody as well. Tony Sin, yes, he got his own back on me. I was severely cleansed by Tony Sin, which my daughter found hysterical. Great matches. The championship match, Muir took on Truman Roswell. Joshua King was there. He's great. Jackson Hart was very, very good. Harrison Leon is great, as we know, as is Josh Spicer. The meme team were in action. Memes, Adonis Payne, and Artemis were in action. Now, my daughter went to go and buy her first wrestling t-shirt, and she said she was getting a Harrison Leon t-shirt. And then she watched the meme team's match. And then she went and bought an Artemis t-shirt. She got to meet Artemis afterwards, and she also got to meet Tony Sin afterwards, who was lovely to her, but made sure that it was horrible to me the whole way through, which Evan again found just absolutely hysterical. So UBW, Well in Warfare, great show, and a very exciting match was announced. The UBW Tag Team Championships, which are currently held by the Odyssey, Artemis and Adonis Payne, are going to be defended at Wrestlemainia against Mr. Charles Crowley and Alexis Falcon. That's a big old match.
It's a great match. Good to see. I like Crowley tends to take kind of very similar act as far as he can do as many different promotions. Of course, they've become an excellent act over in TNT Extreme. So good to see this spreading out more places.
Yeah.
So
that was my Saturday night.
Yeah. When is Truman Roswell going to break out? That guy really needs to be more places these days because he is really good at everything, and I think he just needs to be.
His facials are amazing.
And of course, great on the mic. His conspiracy gimmick is excellent. It's a fresh gimmick in my opinion. I haven't really thought of anything like it, and he is a phenomenal competitor in the ring as well.
Yeah, and he's got his own music now. He's no longer using the Chemical Brothers Salmon Dance, which I'm very upset about. I love that track. So, my third show of the weekend was on Sunday, and I got invited up by our friends at United to go and attend their show.
Yes.
And Oxford, the venue, the Tap Social. Okay, Tap Social, just a quickie out here, are a brilliant company because they employ ex-offenders, train them up and give them jobs because it's incredibly difficult to get work as an ex-offender. And these guys are brilliant. And they run these series of pubs, absolutely great. Their beer is also fantastic, which I found out about when I won the raffle and got lovely cans of beer. Matches-wise, there was, to start with, a United Rumble. 14 competitors, 3 minutes between each, possibly a bit long, but we've learnt that for next time. There was a particular standout for me, Violet Knight. She was brilliant. Really got over with the crowd. Really good wrestler. Vicky Two Thumbs was very, very good. But the winner, who I did get to interview afterwards, keep your eyes open for that, was Handsome Jack, who also happened to start at number 1. He did a Walter, but did it better because he won. We then had Simon Quest versus Richie Delight. Dale Johnson versus Tony Sin. He was there again. The man's chasing me around. Odyssey versus the 8-7 versus Sexton and Armstrong for the United Tag Team belts. Beautiful belts. And the Odyssey won. So congratulations to the Odyssey. Scotty Rourke then took on Kira Chimera. Now, this match, Scotty Rourke stepped in for Luna Blue because they were injured. Get well sooner, Luna. This was the match of the night. These two put on an absolute instant classic match. And I was chatting to the owners of United, and they were saying that so far the best matches that they've had as promoters have been ones that have been thrown together like this. Because before this one, they had one where it was Mark Haskins versus Danny Black, which was completely unexpected, and again turned out to just be an absolute banger. But yeah, Kira Chimera, great. Scotty Rourke, absolutely brilliant. Fantastic match. Loved it. We then had Memes versus Josh Nomax for the United Championship. Sorry, not Josh Nomax. Gorgeous Josh. Gorgeous Josh. He got battered. He got battered and battered and battered. And then a person, I'm not going to say who because I don't want to give things away too much, because this is very important for future references, smashed him round the head with a glass bottle, allowing Memes to get the 1, 2, 3, which means that the Meme team, Memes and the Odyssey, hold all the belts at United. Great show, lovely people. Yeah, great show, lovely people, amazing weekend. Thank you, UBW. Thank you, Full Force. Thank you, United. And on Saturday...
And thank you, Tony Sin, for cleansing Big Daddy Dan.
On Saturday, I'm doing it all over again because I am announcing, again, my 3rd time out announcing. I will be announcing for PEW on Saturday.
Indeed. So quickly, let's have a look what's coming up on Saturday. Well, we started it. It's PEW, Phenomenal Elite Wrestling. It is Brave New World Chapter 2 in Stratford upon Avon. It is the 10-person Golden Ticket Rumble.
Now, a little something about the 10-person Golden Ticket Rumble. If you look on PEW's social media, you might see them sharing somebody who I don't think I've ever seen on their roster. So I'm wondering if that person might turn up in the Golden Ticket Rumble. We shall see.
We will have to see. Indeed. That is at PEW Wrestling.
Also announced Lance Rivera and Franco Fate versus Ryden and George Lydon. The entitled Big Jim Diehard, Brady Phillips and Riley Nova will take on Jason Joshua, Big Daddy Unicorn, Styx and Serico. Smashing Mike will defend again against Kean Kelly for the Internet Championship. This is after last month's meeting where Kean Kelly did a bit of a beatdown afterwards. The next match I can't wait to announce. Ivy versus Harley Hudson. And then the PEW Championship will be on the line as Martin Kirby takes on Jack Selstrom, and none of the entitled are allowed to be at ringside. And Dave Bradshaw's on commentary.
Good old Dave Bradshaw on commentary, the best play-by-play commentator in Europe. And recent announced match is actually James Mason versus Chase Alexander.
Yeah, I'm excited for that as well. Chase Alexander is awesome.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Chase Alexander. His character work is vicious in ring style. Very, very good. Very impressive. Also on Saturday, you could go to Lincoln for 1PW's No Turning Back, which features Will Ospreay versus Robbie X, The Rascals versus Boisterous Behavior, Cara Noir versus Davey Richards, Rhino versus Mark Haskin, John Morrison versus Nathan Cruz, Sessions versus Lizzie Evo versus Ruby Riot, Taya Valkyrie versus Tonga, John Skylar, who is an Impact Wrestling superstar. I found that out since the last time we talked about this show. Charles Crowley, Luke Jacobs, and RKJ versus Will Cruz, Amir Jordan, Callum Newman, and Scotty Rourke. Thrown together an 8-man tag that will be exciting as hell. I tell you that. That's what you guaranteed it'll be. Some great matches, of course. I think this is by far stronger card than their first show. I like who they've brought in this time. I think guys like Davey Richards, The Rascals, Robbie X, John Morrison, Will Ospreay all really bring just that power to that card. So I think, yeah, much better. And shame I can't get down to Lincoln for it, but looks like to be a great show.
Definitely. Having Callum Newman, Scotty Rourke, Amir Jordan, and Will Cruz on a team is good.
Yeah.
Our friends over at UKPW have got Blizzard Brawl at the Falcon Wood Community Centre. Just Joe Lando will take on the suplex merchant Alf Edwards. Evie Madden will take on Kira Chimera for the UKPW Women's Championship. Sapphire Reed will take on Danny Black for the UKPW Inter-Regional Championship. And Tony Sin, and the star of his tag team, Harrison Leon, Tony Sin and Harrison Leon will take on the 8-7 Roy Johnson and Alexander Roth. We've also got Rain Leverkusen versus Amira, Kieran Lacey versus Bullet.
Yeah, some good matches, strong matches. Of course, Evie Madden, a former UKPW Women's Champion. In fact, she was the one who was crowned the inaugural champion. Had to part ways with the belt due to injury. Now back, looking better than ever. And she gets to take on the current Women's Champion, Kyra Chimera. Should be a great match, as should Sapphire Reed versus Danny Black. If you want to see some Brit Rest talent over in Hungary on the same day, just in case, you can go see Spirit Zone as part of Passion Pro in Budapest. Endakara versus Gulias Jr., Lawrence Roman versus Connor Mills, Maverick versus Terrible, Malkai versus Icarus, BT, Peter Tahani and Ava Everett versus Thomas Sabo, Zafar Amin, and Ivor Koloski. This is part of a Passion Pro new one where they're trying to get some of the younger talents up against the more experienced European talents that they are bringing in to the shows. And this is held at the HCW Dojo. So there you go. But what's happening on Sunday?
Let's start off with a big show. Rev Pro UK live in Southampton 22. Will Ospreay versus Leighton Buzzard.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one.
As Chris Jericho and Michael Oku said in their podcast, Will Ospreay is just crapping out 5-star matches at the moment, and this is the opportunity for another one. Yota Tsuji will take on Leon Slater. Dan Maloney versus Luke Jacobs. Danny Jones versus Robbie X. Gideon Gray and Lucian Phillips will tag up against Lycos Jim. Will Craven will take on JJ Gale. And Michael Oku will be in action against Cameron Kai.
Indeed, some of the young Southampton-based talent on that show. They're missing something though, aren't they?
Go on, what are they missing?
They're missing a bloody women's match. Do better, Rev Pro UK. Anyway, well, sorry.
Not that we've said it before.
We said it before. Yeah, we're going to say it again, and we'll say it every time they don't do it. As Rev Pro UK, there is an abundance of incredible women talent. The fact doesn't matter if you're putting on 8 matches. You should bloody have 2 women's matches as a minimum. The fact that you've got 0 is awful crap. Just to be honest, it's not good enough. The matches that you've put on are all excellent. I'm not saying that they are some of the best matches you're going to probably see this weekend, but they are arguably the biggest British wrestling promotion out there, and the fact that they are not highlighting the incredible British wrestling female talent in this country is
crap.
Crap, yeah. Anyway, let me talk about Passion Pro, their main show, which is happening also in Budapest. Passion Pro 7 features matches like Senza Volto versus Zafar Amin, Ava Everett versus Iva Koloski, Lawrence Roman versus Tristan Archer, Thomas Zasbo versus Endakara versus Malkai, Peter Tahani versus Connor Mills, which is a match I obviously would like to highlight because Connor Mills versus Peter Tahani is just a great matchup. I'm excited to see this match when they put it out. You've also got Gulias and BT versus the Arrows of Hungary and Igil Blanc versus Maverick. Let's go on to next week.
On Friday the 24th.
Yes.
I'm glad you're sitting down, Andy. Rev Pro putting on a women's match. And it's a goodie. Danny Luna versus Sky Smithson.
It's a really, really goodie. It is very much goodie. They started building this up at the last Live in London show, which I urge you to go see. Available on their Rev Pro on-demand service. 2-week free trial available. Danny Luna versus Jodie Freck. Great match. After the match, Sky Smithson came out and attacked. Brilliant. Great setup, and yeah, good to see that. And big name, Danny Luna over in Wales, defending her Southside Championship as well. Do you want to tell me about a really, really exciting matchup?
Yes, a really, really exciting matchup is Leon Slater versus Francesco Akira.
It's going to be a bit special. It really, really is. It's going to be very, very special. I just said Liam Slater and Akira, one of the best matches I've seen. Him against Akira, going to be very similar. And then you've also got the big headline main event of Will Ospreay versus Big Damo.
That's an international caliber match that you've got over there in Cardiff. That's well worth the price for admission alone. Will Ospreay versus Big Damo. Big, big match.
Indeed. Your friends, Saki P, are in action. Sacrifice Pro Wrestling. Tell me about it.
Sacrifice versus the FDGU. He's on in Bedford.
I got it wrong, actually. It's the FUTR.
It's not from the ground up.
No, it's for Future Wrestling. Yeah, sorry, my mistake.
Oh, I should really read these things before I read these things. Representing Sacrifice, Alexander Roth will be taking on Brandon Brooks from FUTR. Representing Sacrifice, Cy Gregson, Kai Payne, Truman Roswell, Artemis, and Frankie Vegas will be taking on an FUTR team of Jason Joshua, Big Daddy Unicorn, Carl Kingsley, Gallus, and Morgan Black. We also have Harrison Leon taking on Adonis ? Because he doesn't have a last name yet.
Yeah, I find it funny that Adonis is on FUTR and Artemis is on Sacrifice.
Maybe because Adonis is doing everything he can to not be supporting Sacrifice, seeing as he won't give his name back. They have been having great fun with this. I don't know if you're aware that they've been having Adonis come out as Adonis Cena. They've had Adonis come out as Adonis Mysterio. Adonis come out as various different Adonises. It's been great. Representing Sacrifice, Guerrilla Warfare will take on an FUTR team of Big Van Vescus and Gabriel Lee. The Bromantics, Charles and Shagan versus Act 2, Benjamin Harland and Jack Knudsen, which are a great team. And then Smashing Mike will be taking on David Grant. That's going to be Mike's speed versus Grant's size. That should be a really good match. And
I think, as probably always, Sacrifice Pro Wrestling will be raising money for charity because that's just what they do.
They are good people.
Yes. Excellent people. On Saturday the 25th, you can go to British Wrestling Revolution for No Gods, No Monsters 5 in Grimsby. There's going to be a tag team tournament to crown the new champions. Cruiserweight Championship match featuring Scotty Rourke, Tom Fell, Leon Slater, and Jack Bandicoot, which is going to be super exciting. Will Cruz versus Charles Crowley. Miles Kamen versus Gia Adams. And if you fancy a trip to France that weekend, you can go to a little town called Drus, D-R-U-E, someplace in France, where you'll get to see Will Ospreay versus Tristan Archer. That is going to be bloody good. It's going to be amazing. And I would like to figure out a way to see Will Ospreay versus Tristan Archer. So Rise over in France. Let me know how I can see this match, because Tristan Archer has been one of the best wrestlers in Europe throughout last year. And yeah, him against Will Ospreay could be something special. More British wrestling action with Connor Mills. He'll be being part of a semi-final matchup to crown a new Rice champion, and he is facing David Francisco. On the other side of the semi-final bracket is Agil Blanc versus Antoine Bernard. Antoine Bernard actually defeated Charles Crowley to advance to this past round. And former NXT UK star Amal, one of our favourites. We absolutely love Amal. She's amazing. She'll be taking on WXW star Baby Allison.
Yep, good show.
Indeed. Keeping things rolling on the 26th, you got Progress Wrestling When Man Comes Around at the Electric Ballroom in Camden, London. Spike Trevay versus Tom Dawkins. If Tom Dawkins wins, he will get his name back. It is not a championship match. Callum Newman versus Nick Wayne is going to be one of the best matches you'll see, featuring two amazing Prodigy talents. Big Damo versus RKJ for the Atlas Championship. Alexis Falcon versus Nina Samuels. Axel Tisca versus Mike Bird. And very recently announced Man Like Doris versus Lee O. Rush. More matches to be announced.
Up in Glasgow, it's ICW Square Go, and this will be at the Garage. Ryan Richards versus Landon Riley for a Square Go entrant tournament final place. Then we have announced so far for the Square Go: Dylan Thorne, Shay Monet, Aaron Echo, Stevie James, Jason Reed, Angel Hayes, Charles Samuels, Casey, Jackie Polo, Charles Bungard. Oh, they will all enter the Square Go, but starting at number 1 in the Square Go is Daz Black.
Indeed, the number 1 entrant. They've got some championship matches on the line as well.
They do indeed. Molly Spartan will take on Rio for the ICW Women's Championship. The ICW 0G Championship will be on the line as Theodorus takes on Saqib Ali. And the KOE will take on the Young Boys for the ICW Tag Championship. That's Marcus King and Adam King versus Logan Smith and Jimmy Pierce. And then for the ICW Heavyweight Championship, Leighton Buzzard takes on Kenny Williams. Good show.
Good show. Rev Pro UK will also be in action. They will be in Birmingham. Will Ospreay will be in action. So Will Ospreay is going to be going from Cardiff to France to Birmingham. Wow. Also features Michael Oku versus Gabriel Kidd, which is a match I'm very excited for, as well as Zach Knight versus Yota Tsuji. Of course, you can also get some Brit Rest action in Belgium that weekend, that day, as the CPF boys, the close personal friends, Just Joe Lando and Danny Black, will be taking on the Rivalry, Ultima Sombra, and MBM. And that is Bodyzoy Wrestling, which also features Leon Slater versus Robbie X, L'Enfance de Terrible versus VCC, and Tristan Archer versus Jack Sonsnom, which I believe just translates to no name.
Les Enfants Terribles.
Les Enfants Terribles. You do it again.
Les Enfants Terribles.
And that is Bodyzoy in Belgium. Before we wrap up and finish this show, I'm going to do some questions that we've been asked recently on our comments board and see what you answers are to these, Big Dan. So Brett Thomas asked very recently, well, a little while, about 2 weeks ago, they would like to know what we both think of Cara Noir and Spike Trevay teaming up at Riot Wrestling. Of course, they are feuding long term in Progress for the main belt. Does this show that Progress maybe doesn't have the pull that it used to when it comes to its performers? I would say no. I don't think so. I think they've always typically had the talent allowing them to do their own things, and they've always trial run things in other promotions typically before bringing them in. So could we see something in Progress where Cara Noir returns and then joins Spike Trevay?
Do you know what actually happened in this tag match?
No.
I only found out over the course of this weekend because I was having this discussion. Basically, it was announced that there was going to be the tag match, but it wasn't announced who the tag partner would be for Cara.
And that wasn't a Spike.
Spike. And it turned out to be Cara, and basically they were fighting the whole way through. They were announced as tag partners, but they were not working together in any way, shape, or form. So it kind of keeps the storyline going while announcing them. So my comment is, when I first heard about it and didn't know the storyline, oh, this is crap. I thought it was awful. However, I have been told the storyline behind it, and then it makes sense. So, simple thing, as we say regularly, find out the whole story before you comment on it. Otherwise, you can end up looking like a dick, which is what I did when I was having this conversation with the gentleman saying, oh, this was shit. It was like, do you actually know what happened?
See, I disagree. I think it would have been a great idea for Spike Trevay and Cara Noir to team up, but I also think I would really like to see that in Progress. Have Cara Noir get his name back, but have the next match and think like Cara Noir's going to come out and save whoever it is. But no, he turns. Could you imagine the boos?
Nah.
I'm all for it. Turn Cara Noir heel, have him join Spike Trevay after all of this time. It would be brilliant. David Sparks asked that 1PW show looks really decent. Do you think they found a sweet spot with their branding and import choices in terms of selling many seats again?
Yes. Because they have sold many seats. And as you said, they have got a good mix of talent. You've got the younger guys like the Rascals coming in. You've got the more established talent that is already there. And they're also bringing in the top UK talent with the likes of Robbie X and Will Ospreay. So, yes, in my opinion, 1PW are doing it right.
Excellent. Yep. That one's not worth it. But we also had a question on our very most recent one from Elsa Kano. And she asked, Progress are doing more shows at the Dome. I remember a time when you could get tickets sold out in when Progress would sell out in hours, and they ran bigger venues like Ali Pally. I think the Dome pick is mainly because it's Tuesday. For this show that is going to the Darth Lads Emporium, of course, is at the Dome on March the 7th, and I think it's Tuesday. They're probably not actually expecting as big a crowd, so maybe makes sense to possibly run the smaller venue. I know they also run in the Dome for the first day of Super Strong Style 16, possibly just to the fact that Electric Ballroom maybe have a band on that day.
My opinion, yes, the numbers have gone down attending the Progress shows from before
and
COVID.
They don't sell out like in hours like they used to.
like they used to. No. Now, I will say that there is probably still a little feedback from negativity. I think the new management have made a good stride forward with this. My opinion is, as a DJ, I have noticed massive changes to entertainment since COVID. And people just aren't going out the way they were. And people that used to go out have found different things. People don't go out to dance at pubs and clubs like they used to.
I'm too well for it.
And sit and chat. But things are just very, very different since COVID and building up again. So, yeah, my opinion is the wrestling is still bloody excellent. And it just means you've got a better opportunity of getting a ticket.
Yeah. I think there's still, you know, a little difference in the changeover of management, so that there is going to be this time and settling in period. But I think by next year, I think you'll start seeing progress selling out very quickly, because they keep putting on quality shows. And I'm sure they will run an Ali Pally or a where else could they run? Wembley once again at some point. We've also got to remember, which I mentioned, the fact that now that you got AEW and ROH and they're kind of under major contracts, there are far less top name independent wrestling talents out there. So going back to what 1PW are possibly doing with Impact is fantastic. We're seeing a good feed through, but there are far less top quality you know, the Keith Lees and the guys who signed before, you know, with NXTs, but now you've got AEW and you've got ROH kind of returning, but they're going to be under AEW contracts, so they're not going to be as available as they previously were. And I think that is affecting. Yes, they finally have announced ROH shows tapings, haven't they?
Yeah.
Hopefully Mark Atkins can get himself back in ROH. He was having a great run just before he finished, So, you know what it is, folks. Support the wrestlers, support the British wrestlers out there, support independent wrestling, support British wrestling, European wrestling, and all the rest. And just remember, don't feed the trolls.